Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I am going to call this selection committee to order. It is for City Audit Services request for proposals. So at 2:07 p.m. With that, I will call the roll. Antonio,
Present.
Nancy Fitzgerald,
Present.
Christina Gracia,
Present.
Jason Fletcher, and then Grace Kyung present. So with that, we have quorum to get this meeting started. So the subject of this meeting is to discuss the request for proposal that each of the selection committee members received for the city audit services. So with that, if you all are open to it, I was thinking I would just screen share and we can walk through the RFP together. Okay. So I'm going to go through the RFP page by page. I'm assuming you all can see my screen. Okay. So if anyone cannot see my screen, just let me know, but I will keep going. And thank you all for sending the comments. Everything highlighted in yellow are things I wanted to confirm with this selection committee. If for any reason you have any other questions, please just feel free to stop me. And so the first highlighting here on this page is I wanted to confirm that we are starting with June 30th, 2025 for the fiscal year. Does anyone have any concerns with this date?
I guess, is there a reason that it's not July 1st?
I think it's just because we're going to start with the audit of everything that happened from July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2020.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Okay, so I'm gonna unmark this highlight then. I will keep going. I'll come back to the dates here. My main question. Oh, go ahead.
Grace, like at the top on this page, not necessarily, you still have the A133 report there.
Mm-hmm.
We need to change that to single audit report.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't sure if I should go ahead and change all of those. That was going to be a question today. So Nancy, is it that I would remove A133 report and anywhere that says that phrase, change it to single audit?
What I'm not particularly sure is the PFC audit. Antonio, is that part of the uniform guidance now, or is it still like the A133 before the 2 CFR came about? Because I'm not sure of that one, whether.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
What's the
All I
question,
know,
Grace? I'm sorry.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, Jason. Thanks for joining. And sorry that we started without you. But the
Of course.
was that you had flagged this later on in the document of the A133 should be single audit. So I was asking Nancy just now, should I be deleting A133 report anywhere that's listed and change that to single audit?
I think so. Yes. Yeah, A133 was has been replaced by the single audit.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Then yeah, I will do that as we see it throughout the document, and then I will also check it one more time before we post it as well. Nancy Walsh, this is a question for you. Is there any reason why we have facts in here, or is it okay to remove it?
It's okay to remove it.
Yeah. And this was a question I wanted to ask the selection committee members. I have it in here that each of the bidders can submit a written proposal, a hard copy, and deliver it to the office of the mayor, or we can opt to have only electronic copies. So did anyone on the committee have a strong preference and would like the hard copies? Then If so, I will just make it that they need to send us hard copies. If everyone is okay with electronic copies, then I was thinking we just go ahead and remove that they need to send us 6 copies.
I think the electronic copies work if they work for everyone else.
Yes, I'm fine with electronic.
Jason, Nancy, do you all have a preference?
If we are meeting Zoom all the time anyway, electronic is, I think, is the best.
Yeah, I agree. I like electronic.
And I'm gonna. Let me see which one.
Just a suggestion, you can take out bid too if you want and just have, instead of saying bidder, they're really giving proposals, not bids, right? Or do we think there is like a firm bid number?
No, yeah, I think that makes sense. So you're saying take out bid here.
Right, and it could be the respondent, instead of bidder, could be respondent.
Yeah, it's fine with me. If that, these edits look good, then I will move forward. Okay. Then I will, of course, anything in yellow, I'll unmark it before I post it as well. So same thing here. What I'm going to be doing is changing this to match what we just changed up here, that it'll be available via email. And I will keep going. So for the estimated schedule, was everyone okay with this timeline? I think this is my question really to Nancy, Antonio, and Jason. If you think 1 month is enough time for respondents, or do we typically post these a little longer for audit services?
I would think that's okay.
Yeah, I think it's okay, but I did have a comment about if we should allow for what we would typically have as a pre-proposal meeting. And I've sent this in the comments earlier today, that we typically schedule a date for the potential proposers to listen to an overview of the RFP and the reason for us issuing the RFP. And then we allow them to ask questions during a Zoom meeting. And I put an example in the attachment that I sent earlier today. So I was just asking if maybe perhaps we should have a pre-proposal meeting.
I like that too, you know.
Okay. Yeah, I'm indifferent. I think that if that would be helpful for this RFP, I'm open to it. Christine?
I think, yeah, I'm indifferent to it as well. I think the airport does things just a little bit differently than we typically do, and sometimes is dealing with more complex and higher cost type awards, similar to, like, I know CDA does that in some other departments, but for something like this, if the committee thinks it's important, I think that's fine, but I'd be fine without it as well.
Or maybe we just have the option to have a pre-award discussions, but that we don't have to have it. I don't know.
I think this is a good time to decide whether you want to do that. Who would lead the meeting, or you know, kind of answer the questions, I guess, is one issue.
I would be happy to facilitate it, but Jason, my understanding is the mayor's office posts this RFP, and then the comptroller's office is the one to lead and work most closely with whatever consultant is hired. So would you
Yes.
be okay with leading the meeting and being, I guess, the lead to help answer questions?
Sure. Yep.
And then I guess Nancy Walsh,
I just don't think, I don't know if it's, so Nancy Walsh was mentioning that maybe we should make the decision now. Couldn't there just be time after the 21 days or 28 days or whatever between then and the selection is made? Couldn't that time just be allowed for if there are any questions, but that we don't need formal meetings? Or is that not, or can we not do that? I'm not sure.
Well, typically in our practice, that pre-proposal meeting would be very close to the date that you actually issue the RFP, so that you can get an idea of what questions you would have, and the potential proposers would have a little information about the RFP. So it'd be well before that deadline of February 21st.
Oh, so this would be before we even issue the, okay.
So like you would move forward with issuing the RFP, but like a couple of days or so after that, you would have that option for them to attend a pre-proposal meeting to go over the RFP. Now, I'm not that hard pressed if we don't want to do it. I just threw it out there as this is the kind of thing that we do at the airport. Would it make sense for us to do? But if you guys decide as a group majority not to do it, I would not cry over it at all.
But is that not gonna be covered though, because the proposers are free to ask questions? Like we have the deadline for questions February 21st. So can that be covered if the proposers will have questions and then we just clarify or answer those questions? Or does it have to be live is what I'm asking.
It doesn't have to be. I mean, you could keep the schedule as is, and then you're just relying on all of your potential proposers to carefully read the RFP and respond to everything without, asking questions from this committee. So, yeah, it's just an option where you can have a live meeting and the proposers could attend and ask questions at that point in time. But you can keep the schedule as like this, and they just have to submit, I guess, written questions.
Yeah, thanks for that information, Antonio. I think I would just assume that we do the way we do it normally, which is they have the option to ask questions, but we don't need a live formal meeting to do so. That would be my position now.
I feel the same, Jason.
Okay.
all right, so I'll resolve this comment from Antonio. And so the rest of the schedule would be, we'd make a selection around March 7th, and then my goal was to try to notify the respondent that is selected by March 10th. So giving us a couple days there, I can send an email after this meeting for us to find a time, and then a tentative contract date of April 28th. And of course, this is all subject to change with how long a contract negotiation may take and when we can bring it to E&A. Any issues with this timeline? Okay. So Antonio had another question around Title VI. I just kind of threw it here. Nancy Walsh, are we required to include Title VI language in our RFPs?
I think Antonio makes a good point there, so I can, he sent along some language, or I can send you a text, like a Word text to put in there.
Okay, would we put it right here or would it go later in the RFP?
Is there in the RFP already like a non-discrimination clause?
Oh yeah, it's right here. Do you want me to tag you here?
Yeah, that's fine.
Will you, in case I don't see this updated one, will you send me the language that you and Nancy are working on? Because if there's something better we should say in RFPs, I'll make a note for the board releases as well. because this is sort of the standard language that everybody uses.
Okay, yeah, happy to. Um, so then Nancy, I'm gonna resolve this comment here with the assumption where I tagged you. You knew what I was asking you to add on Title VI. All right. So the next comment, also Antonio asked some questions around minority women-owned firm participation and offered some language we can include based on what they use at the airport. And Nancy, I'm bringing this question back to you as well.
So there is, I saw Antonio's language, but there is no contract goal for professional services. The 25 and 5 doesn't apply. So that's not in our ordinance 70767. The language that he had about the 15% incentive credit is applicable. And I'm happy to use that language.
So you're saying something different than the way we have been operating. It's our understanding that professional services did have a 25% goal, unless something has changed. I would need to take that back to my legal team also, because we have always been operating under the assumption that professional services have 25% goal for all of our contracts and RFPs.
So I will tell you that my experience with this is the ordinance doesn't have that because there was a disparity study done years ago before the current MWBE ordinance, and you have to have a disparity in order to have a goal, and they didn't have enough evidence, they didn't have enough contracts or something on professional services to establish a goal. So that's why the ordinance has this credit instead of a contract goal. And then it doesn't provide for utilization plans, as I read the ordinance, for professional services either. Then SLDC issued some rules, and they have a line in the rule that says 25 and 5 for professional services, and then it says, parentheses, BPS and redevelopment projects. So I don't know if that's how it comes to the airport through the BPS things or et cetera. I don't think that that's in the rules is valid because it's different than what's in the ordinance. But even if it were, it wouldn't apply to this. So sorry for the long-winded answer. But I'm happy to talk about it with the airport legal people, and I know that the city's, I don't think you're the only person that thinks that way, Antonio. I understand where that's coming from.
Yeah, that could be a big difference in our, that could be definitely a big difference in our contract. So yeah, I would love to have set up a meeting with you and our legal team and my business diversity team next week to go over that.
Sure. So this language that's in here is this language about the city of St. Louis is committed. That comes straight from our current ordinance. But I get the point about being more specific about the incentive credit. And so that paragraph 2 that's on page 4 of the document that you sent, I think it would be appropriate to include that. And the committee can make the decision, right? This is just my advice.
Yeah, I guess I mean, this is the standard language we always use, and I'm comfortable using it today if we need to move this forward, but it would be helpful to get some clarity because these RFPs go out on a regular basis. And if there's something that's incorrect, it would be good to let folks know so they stop utilizing this language when they're posting these things.
I'll just make a plea that when we do the next ordinance, let's be more clear.
I might be able to help with that.
And any SLDC rules.
Noted. Sorry, Nancy, I just want to make sure I knew which section of the incentive language you're referring to ask the committee's opinion on it. Which part are you referring to here? Oh, if you're talking, Nancy Walsh, you're muted.
Sorry, that paragraph 2 right there,
This one?
right?
Are you suggesting that we copy and paste and bring this into ours, this entire paragraph? Or this one?
Maybe not the parenthetical, but
Yeah.
that the parenthetical refers to another reference to the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Here, let me just bring this over so the committee can see it. All right, are you all good with this language that just got included under 1.7?
I am.
Jason, Nancy, FW, any questions?
Yeah, I'm just reading it.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks okay to me.
It's fine with me too.
Okay. Then I will resolve Antonio's comment there. And I have a question on this, but it's not related necessarily to this section, so I'll wait to hold it. I just want to make sure we are all on the same page. Now I'm over here with the different units and that we are talking about 3 component units because the Public Facilities Protection Corporation and the Grand Center Municipal Parking Finance Corporation no longer exists.
I think that's right. I think Nancy FW pointed that out, or at least had some commentary on that. And I certainly would go with what it sounds right to me, but I would lean on Nancy if she has something different.
Is the parking commission coming out?
Oh, I did not check this one, no, because it wasn't flagged for me. Is this one no longer in existence too, Nancy?
I thought I saw something about that in a prior draft, but I'm not sure. I don't have any
Sorry,
factual.
let me.
And I thought there was a court case that the parking commission has been disbanded.
That's correct.
Yeah. So I think that has to come out. Well, I don't know.
So there's really only one now?
It would be this.
I don't know if there's a difference between the, hold on, let me make sure I'm reading this right. The parking commission itself is definitely not a thing anymore, but if there's like a finance corporation or something, no, that was
Definitely
separate,
have
right?
that.
Yeah, okay, yep. Yeah, this looks right now.
So after blended component unit, I think you want to say the blended component unit is.
And SLDC is a component union of ours, Nancy FW, but they're not a blended, I guess. They're not discretely presented. No, I mean, SLDC is discretely. I don't know. Maybe this is asking something different that I'm not. So never mind. Disregard.
They are discretely presented, so it's a different one. So the other one is blended, which is part of our ACFR, right?
Yep.
But then SLDC, we dump their audited FS in our financial statement. So I'm guessing the discretely presented, that's why it's discretely presented.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm sure you're right. So, okay.
I will keep going. Jason did update the numbers in here. I just left it highlighted in yellow in case anyone had any questions in this section.
I updated the next paragraph too. It just wasn't highlighted.
Oh, thank you, Jason.
Yep.
Okay, I will keep going. Jason, did you see this comment from Nancy FW? I wasn't sure if we should be deleting this last sentence. The comptroller's office maintains all original vouchers and processes all payroll.
So my comment there, Jason, is just maintains all original vouchers because technically we do not, because it's just maintained in the cloud. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that language should stay.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it should stay. I think it, I mean, it is, we do maintain the system largely. It's, I think I always see it as we're the hub, everybody else is the spoke. So, yeah, maybe we just keep it unless somebody thinks otherwise. Comptroller's office maintains all original vouchers and processes all payroll. I mean, that is true. So,
Okay, and we can keep it. This section is Nancy FW helped redraft this section and wanted to make sure everyone was good with the update before I moved forward on this one.
The only thing that I'm thinking, I don't know if Jason, you would agree, is that, yeah, we got the award again for the fiscal 2023, but should we kind of expand like for how many years we've been maintaining the excellence, the certificate of achievement for excellence in financial reporting?
yeah.
Because 2023 is not the first time, but I don't know really when it all started.
Yeah, I asked Bev, she said 35 years consistently every year for 35 years is the number she gave me. But I don't think it's a bad idea. I think that's a good idea. That we've consistently maintained the COA award for, for 35 years and running. We got it. Well, we don't have it yet because we haven't issued, but we do have an extension with GFOA and we anticipate on getting the award again this year for FY24. So.
Okay, so for the last 35 years and its fiscal year, are you thinking like that wording?
The cities receive the certificate.
Guess you could say most recent is the 23. I don't know. I'm just.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Or including the most recent. I'm not sure about the.
Were you saying you weren't sure about the comma?
Yeah, I think the GFOA, I think that should be the end of that. So for the last 35 years, including the most recent fiscal year of 2023. So maybe the financial report from, maybe that stuff should be at the beginning of the sentence or I don't know. Trying to wordsmith it now. I don't know.
If it's a general understanding from, would most responders know it's from the GFOA? Then I can just delete this.
They probably
Unless-
wouldn't.
Wouldn't? Okay. You want it up here is what you're saying?
The city received a certificate of achievement from the government finance account for excellence. I would say, yeah, wherever you decide to put it. I mean,
Okay. If you guys are good with it, I think that makes sense.
yeah, let's just leave it. Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, Jason, I wasn't sure if this was correct. what's highlighted in yellow.
To be honest, I think it's great that we have Nancy on the call. I think Nancy would have a better answer. I'm just not sure on that, to be honest. Unfortunately.
Whether or
Yes.
not it's a joint venture?
Yeah.
I'm not even sure. I don't know that at all for sure. And then I'm actually not even sure whether or not my guess would be we don't include them in our ACFR, but and then Nancy could just show me how wrong I am. So I'm just not sure.
I don't think we collect or we get a copy of their financials. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah. I didn't think so either, but I would just
Right.
delete the whole paragraph.
Okay, yeah, that was my question.
Yeah.
Deleting if no one has any concerns. Okay. I'll keep going then. So Nancy FW left this comment, and I wasn't sure if we should be including this information. Oh, someone may have already included it. So just wanted to confirm that before I resolve this comment.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay,
Yeah, that lays it out.
great. I'm just gonna leave this comment so as a reminder to me to change anything that says A133 to single audit. So
Yeah.
I'll come back and resolve it after the meeting. Since we're doing this as an email, I don't think they need to send it to us as a separate document anymore, but Jason, is there a reason why the vendor should pull this information out separately before I delete this?
I don't think I don't know if we're doing sealed bids. I think this would be for sealed bids, right?
Mhm.
I don't think we're doing that, but maybe Nancy Walsh has an opinion.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be separate.
Okay, so I'll just delete
Yeah.
it. Close. So Antonio, I think your comment here on scoring, I'm very open to creating a better structure on that. So if I'll let other folks chime in and we could take a look at what he shared, if this would be helpful for us to update in our RFP here.
I think, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure the law requires them to be a CPA firm. So if this is the selection criteria of the audit firm that will audit the city, they will need to be licensed by the Missouri State Board of Accountancy as a CPA firm, if I'm not mistaken. I know I just saw it recently, not even looking for anything that had to do with audit, but looking pretty sure they do.
I'm sorry, what was the licensure by licensed by the Missouri?
The Missouri State Board of Accountancy. There's reciprocity with other states, but yeah, they would have it with Missouri.
I can spell accountancy there, yes. As a CPA.
Yeah. The firm itself needs to be a CPA firm. So there's two levels of licensure on the CPAs.
Mhm.
Your individual licensed accountant, and then your firm has to be licensed as a certified public accounting firm itself. So it's the firm level is what needs to be licensed.
Okay, is that accurate, what I added as a bullet point?
Licensed by the Missouri State Board of Accounting. Yeah, I mean, that's general, like, good way to put it so everybody gets it. Yep.
Okay. Antonio, did you want to talk more about, I guess, how the airport does the scoring criteria? I think this is the section you were referring to.
Yeah, so you got it on the screen. So we actually show our potential bid proposers the scoring factors. So as you can see on the screen here, it actually shows you what the potential points could be for each one of the factors. So I'm just throwing it out that is this something that we would like to share in the RFP? What our scoring factors are for each one of those criteria that's listed in the RFP.
I think this is great for us internally. I don't know that I would, just my humble opinion, I don't know that I would put that out for them. But I think that's great for us as we deliberate. I don't know, it's just my thought.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna look real quick. I don't know if those percentages, how that, I'm gonna look at the rules for ordinance 64103, which is BPS professional services. Because the list of criteria that is in the RFP comes straight from ordinance 64102, but it doesn't come along with the point system, and I see the benefit of using a point system, especially if you have a qualifying MWBE that could get an incentive credit.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the incentive credit. That was gonna be my question in this section, because we added it to the RFP, if that should be added here, just to make it clear that it'll be in the evaluation. Well, I guess it kind of is with this, but yeah.
So I see a point, an evaluation criteria, some different point scoring systems in the BPS rules for professional service for construction.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to make it public. I wouldn't want to give them the impression that we have to go by the point system, unless we do have to go by it, but I didn't think we did.
Well, it can provide transparency, but I think you have to make sure that you're using the right criteria. So I was just trying to compare
Yeah.
the criteria real quick.
Yeah, just to comment, most departments don't put a point system ahead of time. So I hear what you're saying, and Antonio, I think it's great that the airport does it too. So just a preference of this committee on how we should review the audit proposals as they come in and how we'd want to score them.
I'm used to using the criteria that's listed in the RFP to score.
But I guess the what do you call that? I think the question is whether we're gonna add the score, the point, whatever, like 45 points for this criteria or something like that, with your RFP. That's what we're trying to decide. Right?
Yeah,
We can use the point system. The question is whether we want the proposers to have that as the basis, to see how we're
yeah,
how we're doing it.
yeah, to kind of see how we're weighting everything. My opinion would be that that's for internal deliberation, but yeah.
I'm fine with that. I mean, I feel like it's pretty descriptive what's in the RFP, and respondents should be paying attention to everything that's in there. I don't think we need to share the actual points, but I'm willing to go with what other folks think too.
I'm willing
Yeah.
to as well, whatever the group decides.
Nancy, if
So-
that- Oh, go ahead, Antonio.
I was just gonna say that, yeah, that's great. We want to just keep it internal. It just may be a question that might come up, when we issue the RFP. Because, if I was somebody responding to the RFP, I would want to know, how each selection criteria is weighted. But yeah, I think, as we actually score it, we should be familiar with the points for each one of those items. But if you don't want to share it publicly when we issue it, that's fine. It just may be a question that someone may ask.
Okay. Yeah, I'm okay with it. It's a question someone may ask. I'm happy to answer in collaboration with the comptroller's office based on the feedback folks have shared so far. So Nancy FW, do you have a strong preference, or are you okay with us keeping it as is?
Yeah, I'm okay with keeping that internally.
Okay. Well, then I will keep going. So Nancy Walsh will help assist and add the Title VI information here. And then just making sure we didn't have any other comments. I don't believe we do, but I'll just keep scrolling. So I think we have reached the end of the RFP. Are there any general comments or questions folks have that we haven't discussed yet?
There was one comment I forgot to make is, what we generally also do, as a summary at the very end of our, RFP is we put together a checklist to make sure that our proposers submit everything that is required. So again, as an example, I did include that, like, one of the last 2 pages that shows you what a checklist would look like in one of our RFPs. So again, it's just a thought. And, if you guys want to include something like that, that's fine. If not, I'm okay with that also.
Yeah, I could go either way on that. I think it could be helpful. Doesn't, yeah.
And the reason why we do that is sometimes, we will actually have, proposers just miss documents, and they completely miss documents. And they can't say that they didn't know it was required because we actually put that checklist in there to make sure they understand these are the documents that are required. So that's the reason why we put a checklist in there, so that we don't have to keep issuing the RFP multiple times because somebody said they didn't know something was required.
I like the idea of incorporating some of these ideas just as a general practice with like the form that we all use for RFPs. I'm not sure, in the interest of time, Grace and Jason, what you all need to have done by when. So I think while it's smart to possibly undertake some better practices that are more in line with the airport where it's appropriate, I'm fine with moving forward without it, to get it posted today if you need to.
I think that's a great point, and I'm making a note that we need to update our RFP template. To incorporate something like this.
Yeah, Antonio, thanks for bringing some of these ideas forth. I appreciate it. And Nancy, if I can be helpful with any of the updating, let me know.
Okay, great.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, and Grace, real fast, back up on the selection criteria. I was just thinking, since now I understand that'll be used to grade and maybe weight the respondents and whether or not they receive. I think the licensed CPA firm, it's a requirement. So I think that should be just part of the first page or two, that we're requesting proposals from licensed CPA firms. But it's not a criteria, selection criteria, because if you're not, then you shouldn't be applying. So I guess what I'm saying is it needs to be in the first page or two in the preamble or wherever legally required. And then in the selection criteria, that's not one of those. That's more subjective. Your experience that helps us determine whether or not you'd be a good fit. That's just my thoughts.
What do you want me to add it here, Jason? The city of St. Louis is soliciting proposals from certified public accounting firms, or?
Yeah. From professional services, the city of St. Louis is soliciting proposals for professional accounting services from certified public accounting firms to provide audits. Yeah, something like that.
Certified public accounting, sorry.
Yeah. I think if I had the language in front of me, I'd tell you, I think it technically says certified public accountants. So it can be a sole practitioner accountant. So I'm sorry, I'm the one that has to. So I guess it could just say certified public accountant and or accounting firm, or I don't know how you want to word it. I really don't. But obviously most often, especially the size of our city, we're going to want a firm. We're not going to want, I don't think we're going to want an individual practitioner. It'd be a very hard lift for them as a small practitioner.
Are you all okay with this and or accounting firm, or do you want me to just take the language we agreed on from below and bring it up here?
I would just say solicitor from a certified public accounting firm. I would just say certified public accounting firm to provide audit services. I think that's good.
Licensed in Missouri, right?
Yep. Licensed in Missouri. Yep. There we go.
Okay. I guess in terms of timing, thank you, Christine, for bringing that up. I do think in terms of timing, it'd be nice to get this posted today. But if you all thought the checklist is valuable, at this point, it's 3 o'clock on a Friday. We can also post it Monday morning, and I can work on it and we can review it via email, but it's up to the committee.
Are we putting a checklist in this draft?
Yeah, that's the question, if we want to. I
Okay.
think it's nice, but I always try to make it clear with like a good table of contents so folks know where to look for the information.
I second the comments that have already been made that it's great for the future. Antonio's setting the standard here. I love it. But I don't know that it needs to go in there by the end of day today. I think for the future, I think it'd be great, but that's just my thought. Airport always setting the standard a lot. They are definitely good out there.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too. Like I said, I think it's helpful to have some of these best practices incorporated into our template, but I understand in the sense of urgency, I'm happy to approve it today because it's typical from what's being sent out on a regular basis from City Hall.
Okay. So then just to recap us, I will remove all of the yellow. I'll update the language that it's just electronic copies. I will also update the A133 single audit language. And then once Nancy gives me the Title VI language, we will also include that. And I think those were the major changes in the RFP that I'll make after this meeting. Are there any other comments or questions folks have?
Nothing here.
Nothing here.
Great. there are no comments or questions, I would entertain a motion to release this RFP.
So moved.
Second,
And so with that, Christine Christine made the motion, Jason seconded, and with that, I will call roll. So Christina Gracia,
Aye.
Antonia Strong,
Aye.
Nancy Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Jason Fletcher,
aye.
and then Grace Young also aye. So with that, I will work to get this RFP posted before the end of today. I'll also email you all once I know it's been confirmed that it's on the procurement website. I will also post this in the city journal and make that request today before I leave the office. And then Jason, Antonia, and Nancy FW, once it's posted, I don't know if you all are associated with any sort of accounting networks and could also share the RFP through those networks.
Well,
Will
the
do.
comptroller has just solicited an RFP for quite a bit of accounting firms for emergency services here and there, and they're all, so I may put a bug out there to all those. I think we have 6 right now we've been talking to, 2 of the big 4 and then some regional ones. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll see what I can do to make sure the MOCPA is aware and they put it in their network.
Yeah, that's a great idea too.
All right. Well, any other business folks want to discuss?
Nothing here.
Nancy, do we have to do a formal motion to adjourn the meeting?
I think you can adjourn by consensus. But let me just, I'm noticing as I'm looking for where to put in this Title VI language, there is a non-discrimination provision, but that basically is put in the RFP as a standard contract term. So, I think the Title VI language will need to go somewhere else if you guys are okay with just Grace and I figuring out where that goes.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine to me.
Yeah, I don't see a problem.
And Christine, I think nodded, so I think she's good too. Okay, well then, wait, sorry, Nancy, I don't need to do a formal motion.
Right.
Okay,
You're good.
well then, I will call this meeting adjourned at 2:59 p.m. Thank you all so much, and I'll send out emails once it's posted.